Okay, does everybody have access to their Microsoft portal? I guess is the first step. We'll need to go to the SharePoint side. And if you're doing it for somebody else in your agency, if you set this up, then you'll be the one in control of it. So we'll go through the basics on how to structure it, and whether you keep this one as your active one or not is up to you guys. But I'm hoping that you can at least learn the basics to build it. So if whoever owns your agency wants you to build it under their security level, then you know how to do that. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So go ahead and log into your Microsoft portal. Just go to portal.microsoft.com or office.com. Should be able to get you in there. Share my desktop. Get everybody's mug out of here. Okay, and when you log in, anytime you're inside the portal, you always have this waffle. I call it the waffle. I don't know if there's a technical name, app launcher. Up here in the upper left corner, if you click on that, that will always pop open all of your like your different applications, and then you can click on the SharePoint icon to bring you to this page.
Oh, shit.
If you don't see it there, then you may have to click on the all application link here to pop you open. But the SharePoint icon looks like this. So click on SharePoint and it should take you. If you haven't built any SharePoint sites, then you shouldn't have anything in here. Maybe there's some that was self-generated based on what you've done in other parts of the Microsoft platform. Because inside of Teams, if you create a team channel inside of Teams, it will create a SharePoint site that is connected to that team. That can also happen in other parts of Microsoft 365 as well, but that's the most common place. It'll connect from there. So once you're in here, it's really easy. They have this little link up here in top left corner that says create a site. And when you click on that, it'll get you some options here. And if you remember to the first call, I talked about 3 different structures. We have a team site and a communication site, and then the hub that connected any or all of the above. So the team site is more focused on just sharing documents. So if you have a piece of your intranet that you want, that will just be more of a folder type system. The team site will be one that you'll want to connect and create, because then you can create the folder structure. So for the carrier site that we had, or the carrier resource section that was a part of our intranet, it's actually built on the team site. And we'll do both of them. The communication site is the one that's more web page based, to where you can actually punch information in and lay out. So the actual carrier pages, the workflow pages that we created were all built on the communication site. So we'll start with the team site, just as it's the simplest one, and then we'll end up on the communication site. And if we have enough time, we'll connect it as a hub site. If not, we'll catch that part up on the third call. But I want to get you guys the basics of building these 2 pieces out, because this is where all your information is actually going to sit. So technically, your intranet could be 1 or more SharePoint sites, depending on how you decided you wanted to classify the information. Currently, mine is built on 3. I've got 1 team site for the carrier resources because I needed more folder aspect, because the carriers always give us the PDF documents. I want to store those on the intranet so people can reference back to those. Still gives you the news pages that you can do. But then when I laid out our workflows and processes, all that was built on the communication site. So if you want to go ahead and click on the team site, then it'll come to the site name. And this is where you can name this specific site, make it descriptive, because the naming convention is what will help you remember what it is. So if you wanted to build out the carrier resource section, name it something along those lines so you know, oh, this is for carrier information. If you wanted to build out a file section for like client files, then make sure your site name has something to do with that so you can identify it later. So I'll just create the carrier section here.
Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask on this issue of client files? I'm really struggling with like how much we should rely on all the documents in the agency management system attached in chronological order versus having this shared file system.
Sure. So it's actually a great question. There's several schools of thought when it comes to the document management, whether it's client files or carrier resources or whatnot. I actually had a conversation, I can't remember, this past week and a half, it's been a blur, another agency owner that talked specifically about that. And his thought process was, and I tend to agree to a certain extent, he wanted to keep all of his documents on a central drive like this, because if he ever wanted to change management systems, that data conversion piece is always the nightmare piece. And how many of those documents, the notes and all that stuff transfers pretty easily in data conversions when you move from management system to management system. But the documents, sometimes they retain the name, sometimes they don't. I know EasyLinks, when they save them on this EasyLink server, they just assign a code to them. So even though you name it inside of EasyLinks as whatever it is, on the server side, it's actually like a bunch of gibberish. So when you get the data export, you kind of have to look at every single one of them, and hopefully the name merges, but it doesn't always merge. So for me, I don't like putting it into the management system for that reason, just because I can have more control over how I organize it and where it's at. It's just kind of personal preference. But when you create a folder system, you just need to come up with a structure on how it's going to be saved there. Otherwise, it just becomes one big massive folder of a bunch of stuff. And what you don't want is you don't want it to become e-junk, where you can't tell what it is and you spend more time identifying what documents are, just trying to search for something. The nice thing about having it built into here is inside of the Microsoft ecosystem, as we saw in the first call, like Word documents and stuff, if you're searching for keywords, it will track that information down if the keywords are in there. So that is helpful on the search side. But if you ever have to share documents and stuff, the controls in here are pretty easy. But you do have to manually share it with the clients. Whereas if your management system has a portal, you know, that's where the document sharing directly with the client might be a little bit easier. Does that help? Just
yeah,
couple different ways of thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I worked for other shops before I started my own. I don't have a great solution, to be honest. In my heart, I'm kind of stuck with the duplicity model, you know, where like I want them in both places, but maybe I'm crazy.
No. Yeah, and you can use one as a backup too. Yeah. You know, the only stuff that we put in the management system is the stuff we actually share directly with the clients.
Really?
Is what we currently do. Because I use Dynamics for our actual workload.
Mm-hmm.
And so our documents are built right into our workflows instead of, and because Dynamics saves it on SharePoint, it's organized for us.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer it more for our internal efficiencies than the clients, because the carriers have all the, you know, if you got admitted carriers, you know, they've got the portals that the clients can get to most of their documents that they need anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of how we operate anyway.
Yeah, we'll dig into it and then continue to iterate.
Sure.
But thank you.
Yep. So when you name the site name here, whatever it is, you'll notice it has a group email address. So when you create a SharePoint site, it also creates a group. And if you remember from the first call, the group also can be a security control, because you can assign users inside your agency to groups, and that would give them access to the different pieces of whatever's in that group, which would be the SharePoint site. So if you did have, going back to the client file section, if you wanted certain people to have access to client files, or if you wanted certain people to have certain access to certain client files, but not all of them, you could segment it that way by the group. And there's also a group email address that could also be like a distribution list. We don't use the group email address. I just haven't found a need for it yet. We use it more for security control. Site description, this is where you can just put a little description. So if you're not descriptive enough in your site name, and it might be confusing, you can add a little bit extra details there. Maybe it'll help, other staff members or newer staff members that may join your organization figure out what this piece is for. Because as you start building out, as you can see in our other SharePoint site, we've got quite a few sites that we use for different things. So it's always helpful to have a little bit better description. Privacy settings. This is where you can make sure, like if you wanted to make sure no matter what security role they had in your office, they have access to it, you can make it public. So anyone in the organization can access this site, which if you're doing a carrier resource, I would assume you probably want everybody to have access to it. Private is where the security controls from the group setting would kick in. So if you made this a private group and only add, if you had like a human resources document section, you only want people that you put in the human resources group. So for something like this, for the carrier piece, I make it public. If your organization operates in other languages, you can change that there. I struggle with anything other than English. And then you just click next. Here, if you wanted to add other people in your office as owners of the SharePoint site and share that permission setting with them, you can do that. Add members if you wanted to, if you didn't make it public and it was a private one and you wanted to add others to that security role right now because it's the group, you could do that here. You can also do that later in the group settings, which we can circle back around to that later. And then you just click finish and let it go. And now it's creating the site for you. So within a few seconds, it created the SharePoint site. Anybody having any issues with that part? Okay, so if you do, just throw your hand up or shout, give me a shout. So this being the team site, the focus is around the documents. So right here over on the left-hand side is the document section. And when you click on that, that's where you can go in and actually create the folders. So you can click new here and you can add folder. So I can make a travelers folder, for example, and you can add as many folders as you want here. And this sync option right here is what syncs this to your computer. So once you click sync, it will open up the OneDrive application and say, yes, we want the OneDrive application to open. And then down here in my lower corner, you can see now it's processing the change. So then when you go into your actual documents folder on your computer, now I got that actual folder itself, and it's syncing that information right onto my computer itself. Now you can drag and drop. You can also create folders right here. New folder inside your computer like you would do any other folder. You can see the status here is that circular icon means it's syncing. So it's pushing it back up to your SharePoint site. So now you can create folders on your actual desktop that would sync back up and back and forth. Now, when you start telling your staff about this, make sure they understand if they do make a change, it will sync it back and forth. So make sure to tell them, don't delete anything unless you're absolutely sure it should be deleted, because it could sync that back and forth. So that's the folder section of this piece. And then if we click back on the home tab, You can always click home to come back to it. And now we're back at the main page. And if you remember back on my carrier section, we had those little news pieces, and this activity is where that stuff will start populating. And then on the hub site, it will push this activity back to the hub site once we connect them, so people know a certain page was updated. If you want to create a news section, right here under the news tab, you can do news post. I don't need Grammarly right now. And then it starts walking you through some of the pieces. And this is where I created some of that carrier information. So you can walk through the little guidance that they have here. They didn't have this when I built it. This would have been nice. But add content using web parts, we'll do that here in a second. Publish with one click. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
I apologize. I was trying to get my OneDrive to sync to. I was having issues. Where did you go to get to where you're at right now? That post?
Just click back on home.
Okay. Got it.
And then under the news section where it says add, right here at the top, do news post.
Oh, got you. Okay. I just see the home player. Okay. Got it.
And then it'll walk you. If you haven't been in there before, it'll give you a few tips and tricks, but just click through that and it'll get you here.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. And then once you're in here, you can kind of see it's already starting to set up the structure. This is the heading piece up here. So what I did was, if you click on, it has this little pencil icon, there's like a little picture frame, and then like an undo button type deal. If you click on the little picture icon piece, it pulls up to where you can get picture icon or pictures. What I did was I just do web search, and then you can search and it pulls up stuff from the web. And then it has little settings here. So Creative Commons just means anybody can use it. But if you change that to all, that's how I found the different logos for the different companies. And so then you can pick one. If you need a bigger size, because it looks blurry or whatever, you can change the size so it sorts them. Only pulls up the bigger size. Large is what I think I used, and then it pops up like if you hover over the one that you like, it has these little circles in the top right, and you can just hit that checkbox. And then down in the lower right-hand corner, you can click Open. And then it loads it in there, and you can click on this little yellow drag thing and move it around to where it fits just like you want it to. And then when you click off of it, that photo is there.
Sorry, are you able to size it?
That would be on the picture itself. So there's not really like sizing controls right in there. But when you're searching for the picture, you could search for a medium or smaller version of it. Remember, it's a pretty basic piece. If you wanted to size it yourself, you could just upload it here once you have it the size that you want. For me, I didn't care enough to spend that much time on it. But you can upload it here if you already have it saved on your OneDrive, or if it's another link, you can just click to it. But just upload is real simple. It just pulls it from your computer.
Hey, Travis.
Yep.
So when we create this company logo here, is this creating that kind of company card page on each one of them? Is this the steps to do that, or it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can actually save these as templates too.
Okay.
One of the things that I always tell everybody when you're working with anything technology is, always save after you make progress. So you can save it as a draft up here. And then this little drop down here, don't do it yet, but once you get the page the way you like it, you can save it as a template right here. It has some other page details that you can click on here. If you wanted to change the thumbnail, This is just getting a little bit nerdy for me on that part, but you can dig into that stuff. But if you just click Save as Draft, it wants me to change the name. So this little pencil icon here in that same image area will pop open some more title area options. So you can just change the look of it here. You can have it overlap, image and title, the color block. So when doing the logos, this part didn't look very well. So I have my carrier pages as image and title because the title piece is here. So you can align. So the title I have, so for some of them, I segmented it. So it was really easy. Like if you had a new person and they weren't sure which company was health versus life versus property and casualty, that kind of stuff, I segmented it and just put a title there, alternative text. You can put whatever you want. So when they hover over it, it tells them that. Show publish date, I prefer, because then they can see the last time this thing was updated. So if you haven't seen this piece updated in the past year, you might want to just have put somebody in charge of just making sure that information's still accurate. For this kind of page, that's always helpful, just so you can keep track of the last time it was updated with information. But these are just a few pieces here that I like doing. And then the name your post right here. You can just click on it and delete it and type it. If you wanted the person's profile that created it or updated it to stay there, you can. If you don't really care about that, you can click on the little X here to remove that part. So it doesn't have to be on there. But once we do that, we should be able to save it as draft. That way, at least saves our progress there.
Sorry, Travis.
Sure.
How did you get your post? Yours looks small, where it says property and casualty and then Safeco Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
When I did it, it's giving me this huge, big blue color block.
Well, okay, so that's on the page
details.
details.
Oh, because you did it. Okay,
or
you did it as
image.
Yeah, I just found it. You did it as image and title. Now mine
Yep.
looks the same. Okay,
Yep.
Got it. Sorry about that.
Yep. So I mean, they give you the several options, but for the carrier section, because I was using the logo behind it, that's why I went this route. But that's a really nice option for other informational types. Just change the look a little bit. Help designate this site's for this and this site's for that.
Mm-hmm.
Travis, another question kind of along the lines, I guess, is the
Sure.
You have green on your colors for property casualty in the CR. Mine has like a weird brown color. Is there a way to change that?
That's a good question, because it automatically creates the SharePoint color itself.
Okay.
That's because on mine, every SharePoint site has a different color.
Huh.
So like
okay.
here's my natural one.
Yeah.
So it just
Random
automatically assigns random
Got
colors.
it.
I'm not sure if there's a way to change that color or
Okay.
not.
No
If I
problem.
find it, I'll let you know.
That's fine.
Just not something that I pay attention to. Yeah, because it's green here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It creates it's got to be in the theme color somewhere.
Okay.
We won't go there yet.
Nah, don't worry about it. I was just curious.
Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
This is Greg Garcia. I think it's in the little wheel settings, and then it says change the look.
The widget up here?
Yeah. And then change the look and then theme.
Okay.
Yep, you got it right there. Yeah.
So this is I wanted to jump on this because we use like for our training mainly we use Slack.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this is just a different option. Is that if you're familiar with Slack? I'm like,
yes. Well, Slack's more of a chat base, but it does have a few pieces into it. This is more. I'm not super familiar with Slack because I haven't used it in a long time, but
we were just using Slack for sharing training videos and it'll integrate and all that stuff.
You were sharing them, just sharing it back and forth, or did you have it like a storage section in there?
Sharing them back and forth with my staff just for training, just because it would integrate with. Can you add video on this?
Yes. That'll be on the communication site that we'll show here in a second.
All right.
This piece is more document focused, but you can do these news pieces. So actually you can do it here too if you have carrier stuff. So underneath, once you build the header piece, that way it's easy to identify to your staff. If you hover over right underneath it, it says add a new web part, and you can click on this, and it gives you pieces that you can build into it. So if you have video somewhere else, like on YouTube or whatever, and you get the embed code, then you can click on the embed piece here, and you can just paste it in there. So you can put all kinds of stuff. You can see all the pieces that are built into it. We use the stream inside of Microsoft, so they have their own piece built in here, so we can connect it really easily. So these are all the pieces that you can put in here. But basically what I did on my carrier pages is I started building out some web parts so we can house some text data. So that's the text piece right here. So you can click on it, and it's got a basic word processor just like you could do anywhere else. Bold, italic, so you can go ahead and type in different pieces. And if you click on the three little dots, it opens up a lot of that same stuff on the right hand side, so you can change the color, highlight the background pieces of it, insert links, tables, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a very basic Word document that you can add different pieces to it. If you hover over on the left hand side, it gives you options for this whole section that we just added in here. So you can click on the edit section piece, and that's where you can break it into columns. So it's on one column right now. For my carrier section, for example, I broke it into 3 columns here, and then I put different sections because I was trying to keep the information up and down. Agency support, policyholder support. So if they were looking like, oh, what's the claims number? They could, find, okay, this column here is for the information that we give to the client. This column here is for our agency information. And then over here is just our contacts, like our sales rep, that kind of stuff. So to do that, I clicked on this, and then I just clicked on the 3 column option, and it broke it into the 3 sections for me. So it's pretty simple to start laying stuff out. And then according to your theme, you can change the background colors here so you can break it up into different sections. And then since it's each section, you can put your whatever gibberish you want in here. And then if you move over to the next section, then you can click on the plus sign and you can add more details. So you can add more text, documents, whatever you want, however you want to lay it out. So for me, I just have 3 text boxes across the top. And then in each text box I did agency support, made it a heading 1, made it bold. And then in the same box, I just hit enter, just turned off the bold, or changed the size of the font. Heading 2. Normal text, you can change it to where it stands out. And then you can do the same thing across. So depending on what information you want there, you can do that part pretty easy. And then to add more stuff down below, you just go down and do a plus for the next part. And what do you want to add next? Do you want more text? I'll add a text box. I'll click edit, because on this one, I want to break it up into 2 parts, but maybe I want one side bigger than the other. So I'll do 1/3 left. So it puts a short spot here, but a big spot over here, because maybe I want to put in some videos over here. So I'll go down and I'll click on the stream part, because I've got something specific from Safeco that I want my people to be able to see. And oh yeah, I'm in my my sandbox, so I don't have stream set up, but you would be able to pick whatever videos that you wanted to right there and create a stream for Safeco Insurance, for example.
Hey, Travis.
Yep.
Do you know how to, like when I did that, it showed all my videos that I have in stream, and I have them separated by carrier. Do you know if it allows you to do that?
Yeah, so when you click on it, you can go, it gives you the settings over here to the right, and you can do all of stream, single video, or a channel. And so when you're inside a stream, you can create channels. So I created a Safeco channel and a Liberty Mutual channel. And then what it does is it just creates a playlist of sorts if you do the channel piece. Otherwise, the olive stream throws everything in your whole box in there. And then the sort by trending, publish date, views, and likes, it just helps you kind of organize and give them a preference. Trending is just going to be the one that people in your office watch the most. It's always going to throw it in the trending. So it just kind of depends on how you want it to sort there. But that's how you do it. You just click on the settings piece of it.
Okay, thanks.
And then with the stream piece, it also gives you the ability to, you can put, like, clearly this is the Safeco page, so I would assume it's the Safeco channel. But you can add information, like maybe it's the homeowners stream for homeowners rating stream or something. And you can add several stream channels, if you wanted to do another one here, if it's a different topic for the same thing, you can add another one and just name it something different if you have a different channel that's related. So if you have an auto and then you have a home, you can have a different series of them. I haven't gotten that in depth on my videos yet, but you can add as many as you want. And if you ever click on anything by accident and add it, this trash can over here will delete that one part. So that's how you get rid of it. Just make sure you're deleting something you actually want to delete.
Corey, so if you wanted to include a training on how to quote on that quote or service in that particular carrier, you would do it as a stream video. But if you wanted to have also a written text, where would you place that?
You could put the text wherever. So when I do the video stuff, I like doing the 1/3 option. That way the video is bigger. They can always click on it and open it up in a bigger screen, but sometimes you just want to jump in there real quick. And then if you, the less videos you have, so say I just wanted for this stream channel, I just wanted a single video, for example. So I'll add that one video, and then you can put your text over here on the side. So if they didn't want to sit there and watch the 5-minute video, you could do the highlights and the bullet point over here. Either create a number or bullet points. I find for steps, like if you're walking somebody through a process, using the number piece is better, because then you can be like, just skip step 2, go back to step 2, and that's where your error is going to be. And then the other thing you could do, Microsoft Stream's really good about transcribing your audio into text as well inside the thing, so they don't have to have the sound on, they can read it as well. But what you can do is you can say this process here is related to minute number 130 in the video. And so they don't have to watch the whole video. If you want to get that granular, jump in there and say, okay, this part of the video is when I started going over the reconstruction cost section of the quoting process. So if they're struggling with that piece, they don't have to watch the whole video. I try to keep my videos less than 5 minutes. when I'm building them, just because the attention span, if they're in a hurry, they're not going to try to, they're going to try to skim through it. So that's a good way of giving them another method of just finding the information really quick.
Right. Right now we have a lot of our stuff built out just kind of as like Word PDF kind of documents with with snips inside of it. So where would you, like sort of here are the steps and here's the visual. Where would you place that in all this?
So just like a picture?
Well, it's a Word doc, right? It's an extensive Word document. We could restructure it right into this page, or
sure,
I guess embed the file, or
if you got the document there,
yeah,
you can click here and do File Viewer, and then go grab, from your site, go into your documents.
So this would be another section, I presume, underneath. It would be like process or quoting process, and then or servicing process for carrier.
You could put it wherever you want. So you don't have to put a video in here. You could just put your document here so they can see the actual document. Or you could have both. Because what the document viewer will do is it'll actually show you the document itself. So they don't even have to open it up.
Got it.
So it all depends on how you want to lay it out. Let me see here. Let me find the document.
Okay, so I'm going to want to add a section beneath.
Does that make sense, though?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just kind of playing as I go here.
Yeah.
Hey, Travis.
Trying to visualize it, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We have the agency support policy holder, and contacts are 3 main tabs there. When you're putting the files in the drive, do those flow into one of those sections automatically, or is that a separate area?
This is a visual piece that I build out, and so the documents tab over here is where it is.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
so the documents tab is what actually syncs down to your computer.
Okay.
But with the file viewer piece in here, that's where you can pull in the documents into the page itself.
Does it manually pull them in, or do you have to kind of pick which ones, or highlight a few of them, or?
You can do highlighted content. The file viewer would be one. I think they did have, here it is, document library. So you could put like a whole folder right there.
But that document link is going to be kind of within this page as well. We're right above there to see it.
So here,
folder.
Yeah. So
I didn't want to double it up if they know an easy way to get there, I guess, so we don't need to put a link to it.
Yeah. So you could put it here, and so anything that's dropped in that folder, they would see a visual representation here. For my office, I have them all go sync that actual documents folder to their computer, so they have easier access to it than going to the web page. But I'm trying to have them go to the web page because of all the other.
Excuse me. Right.
Because how many times do you find out some, a tip or a trick or something stupid, which if you go look through a million documents, it's like, okay, so we're creating a tip section.
So that piece was, let me go back here. I got the video one on there. What was that called? The file viewer, or what was it? The one that has the list?
Well, that's the
documents. Documents there.
Yeah. So that's the document. Document library.
Document library. I see what you're saying. And that will automatically give them a list of what's in that.
As long as you drive down and pick that specific folder.
Pick the folder. Okay.
Yeah. So whatever's in this Safeco folder that I had, which is the same. It's the same folders on my computer.
Okay.
This one here. Anything that I dump in there is going to be
pulled in there.
Showing here. So anything from your computer you sync over will be. So let me do this.
Okay.
Just for let me grab something out of my carrier. Carrier folder.
Okay, I think I do have. I just have a little check mark by it.
Okay.
It says share copy link or download. Just put a check mark on it, and that's it. Then it's going to go to that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to copy these two, and I'm going to go put them in that Safeco folder, which is in this Documents tab here. So you can see the blue icon, it's syncing. Green check mark means it's up on the cloud. And here in a few seconds, it should populate in here. Oh, look, they could even sync it right here. Take it to their computer. That's even easier. That's new. So this will launch that OneDrive sync option that will set it up on their computer if they click it right here.
Okay.
They've just added this stuff. Before it was just the folder.
So I have it put in my system. It has documents, and then I have like a shared copy link, download, delete, pin, and then it has like the two folders I've created, Progressive or Travelers. So I just have a check mark on Travelers. That's what it will look like until I start putting folder stuff in there.
Yeah. So I just saved it, and there's the
got it. Okay.
Drive in, and so as soon as it syncs that stuff, it'll show it in there.
So, sorry, when I put in highlighted content, it just is pulling up my most recent documents. How do you specify which documents you want highlighted there?
Well, let's see. The highlighted, I think, is like the most recent stuff.
Oh, really? Okay. So we don't want filtering. That? Okay.
Well, there should be a filtering option. So if you click on it, it opens up the highlighted content. Did you see this bar over here on the right side?
Yeah.
So that's where you can dive down and you can do your custom document library on this site. Documents. And then we'll have to dig into this to find the actual document piece. That's where it starts getting a little bit more technical. But then you can set up how it rotates through that document information.
Yeah, this is getting a little fancier already. Okay.
Yeah. I try to keep it simple because it's, you got to remember, as you add staff or if you have staff, you want to make it really simple for them. So that's why I have them sync this folder to their desktop, so it's always right there, no matter where they're at. So you can add as many of those web parts as you want. You can just keep adding as much stuff. Some of the other stuff that we started doing, I don't know if they've actually used it or not, but as far as like adding products and underwriting companies, I did have a newer staff that, once you have, 5 or 10 companies in the management system, that sometimes they only see the underwriting company. They're like, which company is this? And so I started listing the underwriting companies so they could search for it, and it would pull up the parent company page. But I put that information at like the bottom of the carrier page. That way it didn't take up room, for example, on useful information up top, because it's really the newer people until you get familiar with underwriting companies. But the company advantages is kind of where I'm heading with it right now, because how many tips and tricks do you learn from each company, whether it be specific product information or how to quote. You can go back into Travelers and rerun the credit report without jacking with stuff, ask them to reapply it. Different things like that is what we're starting to put in the advantages piece for each carrier. I guess we could also, I think, as I'm thinking out loud, we could also do like a warning, don't do this with this carrier type stuff. So it's one of those things. It's like, just ask your staff what kind of information would be useful, or start writing down every question that they ask you. That's where I'm getting most of my information from. Every time somebody asks me a question on how to find this information or how to do this or how to do that, I'm taking a few minutes just to create it. And, it in the beginning, it's pretty slow, but, a month or two down the road, it starts piling on the information.
Hey, Travis?
Yep.
Where do you put the advantages? I apologize.
Oh, I just created a text section in here. So I added a new section in text.
Got it. Okay.
And then just started, typing out the.
Yeah, because you could put like, how do they treat metal roofs to like dog, kind of stuff like that. Like different companies, how they treat, different items like no asbestos shingles or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the challenge is, depending on the company and how many products they have,
Right.
this thing could get a mile long. The
Yeah.
nice thing is you can search and it'll pull it up when you have them search in the site for keywords. But it'll also pull in documents too. So any document you have connected, and you search for metal roofs, any document that has metal roofs in there will also pull up. And so as long as you have everything named and kind of structured correctly, it's easy to kind of work your way back into that piece. So the $1 million question is, how much do you want to put on the actual carrier page itself? And how much do you want to put inside the folders piece of it? So I use this page currently more or less as a gateway to guide them to different pieces. Because like the carriers give you the PDF for the product information, you don't want to retype all that stuff in here. So there's no perfect answer. It's just how much information do you want to put here and how much energy do you want to put into collecting it, and then how often are you going to have to update it?
Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
Under your agency support, we have the agent code, which is definitely valuable for everybody to have a quick. Where you have Sales Center, do you have stuff flowing under that with each one, or you have a company login website right there to take them where they need to go, or what does it mean by Sales Center there? What do you use that for?
Oh, some companies have sales centers, and so you may have a different sales center code, for example.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I just didn't finish typing.
Got it. Okay. I don't know if we should put the website to the, the agent website under that area there for agent support, or phone number for agents to call, or.
Yeah, that's, all of that information. So link to website, you can highlight it and click on the little chain link here.
Yeah.
And you can put the web address.
Okay.
I like to check this open link in a new tab box. That way they still have access to this page, but it would launch that link separately.
Are you required to have it double spaced like that? I've been trying to figure that out since we started this.
Oh, for the text?
Yeah.
That's all dependent on, let me go back in here, like the heading, like which option you use here.
Yeah.
So that the heading, the bigger text will put a bigger space underneath it.
Right.
And if you do the monospace, I think in normal text will have the least, but it does, you can see the space between it there is smaller than the space up here. So the normal text will provide, but now it's smaller, but it'll provide the least spacing between them. Because the other nice thing is the Microsoft has all these mobile apps too, so you can pull this up on your phone and it's all mobile responsive. So some of that stuff helps. While on a massive screen like this, it may seem like it's really spaced out. On a tiny phone screen, if you're accessing it that direction, it helps. If you wanted to come over to the 3 dots over here, even though it's normal text, you can make it smaller there. I guess if you really wanted to, you could subscript it. Might make it too small though.
I have a weird thing. When I select save as draft, I'm getting cannot save your changes, inner message we can't save because a site member has ended your editing session. Refresh the page and click edit to continue making changes.
Did it log you out by chance, maybe?
No, I'm still logged in. Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on that one.
No. Okay, no one knows. I guess I just lost everything. Oh, cool.
It said what now? Your editing session?
Yeah. It says we cannot save your changes because a site member has ended your editing session. I don't know.
A site member.
Then it says refresh the page and click edit to continue making changes. Exception message, whatever.
Well, you would be the only site member on there
I
because
know.
that's the new one.
Oh, maybe one of my staff members hopped on. Tori, sorry. No, that would not be cool. Hang on one second.
Anybody else have any questions on this part so far?
Hey, Travis, real quick, if I got kind of playing around with the different pieces on here, like if I put in a video and stream video, if I would move that whole chunk up or down, is there a way to drag and drop that kind of up and down, or?
Yeah, if you click on it, this little, I don't know what you call it, but when you move your mouse over the second option down, you can click on it and drag it.
Ah, gotcha, right there.
Wherever you want.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. That way you don't have to delete it and add it later.
Yep.
And then when you feel good about everything, you can just hit post news and that'll publish it. That way everybody else can see it. But when you do hit save as draft, your page has been saved. Check mark right here will show up. So that way, you know, hopefully you don't lose everything if something does happen. Down the road, after you feel good about the layout that you've built, then come back and do save as template. I mean, we're messing around with it today, but play around with it. You can move all these parts around and all that stuff, add and release. But when you start creating for the other company websites, because right in my example here is Safeco. It's easy to create a template and then just adding the same structure over and over again for your additional company websites. All you got to do is hit save template. But whatever you save, it's going to save. And so that's why I say maybe give it a couple days before you start adding the other carrier websites, just to make sure you feel good about what's there. And it will save you a boatload of time down the road. Because when you hit save page templates, name. Then when I go back home, we can do new. And on the template section, now that one that I just saved is a template option. So when I create my second site, it pulls that up. So now duplicating your carrier pages can be super fast once you settle on a format on what you want. Just take it from me. I've destroyed it probably 14 times just because I didn't like the way it was and had to recreate my templates and everything. So kind of get a sense of how you want it laid out and the information you want. Because once you create the site, then you'll have to manually go add it to every page moving forward if you wanted to add a new section. But it'll really cut your time down if you can get a basic site template structure set up as a template. And then you just go to the next site and adjust your photo. And they do have some generic photos in here that you can choose from if you don't want to go search for anything. Teamwork, yay.
How did you save that How did you make that template again? I missed that.
Yep, right under here where it says save as draft, if you click on the little down arrow next to it, should have a save as template option.
Okay.
So if you do make a template and then you decide you want to change it and you want to make another template, just make sure you do like whatever the name is, template version 2, version 3, so you know which one to use. But you'll start loading up your template piece on the other side, so that way name it correctly so you know which one you're currently using.
Can you delete them?
You can.
Okay.
Hey, Travis, for the stream,
hmm
if that's not showing on there, is that something we need to pay extra for, or we just don't have activated?
It is included in certain packages and not in certain packages. Just kind of depends on the package you're on.
Okay.
I don't remember which package when they started including it.
Got it. Okay.
Business Premium. I'd have to go back and look. So, I mean, you can just add that piece on, but most of the time it's worth just bumping up to the next package because it's only $3 or $4 maybe.
Yeah.
It's really.
I'm at one of the enterprise level ones. I would think it would be on there, but I don't.
If you are on one of those, then it might just be a setting, just it's not activated or authorized. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can jump on later and dig in there, see where maybe you need to add it.
Okay.
Hey, Travis, I have a basic question.
Sure.
On SharePoint, is Sway the new version of SharePoint, or it's different?
Sway is different. Sway is more of it was like Microsoft's version of a fancy newsletter.
Okay.
It's kind of like Word and PowerPoint and newsletter structure, website, all kind of smashed together.
Got it.
I tried playing with it a little bit. We just don't do any newsletters, but it was a clean way of doing newsletters. One of my Medicare companies actually was sending us news updates with Sway.
Oh wow.
It was our rep. She created it herself because she was doing her own deal. But it's just a more of a newsletter structure, so it's something totally different.
Got it.
It just puts the information in a different format, that kind of mobile responsive type of setup. So if you didn't want to pay for a newsletter program, it's really easy to do.
Yeah.
So it's nice if you need to do something. We just haven't found a use for it for us.
Right.
Okay, any questions on this side?
Just one. And you may have said this earlier and I may have missed it, but with the documents, do you have to see all of the carriers? Could you possibly set it up to where it just shows the safe code folder?
Yeah, that would be in the setting piece. Let's see, folder. Nope, that just renamed the name.
All right.
I had it earlier. Where'd it go? I just didn't save it. Form templates. I will have to circle back around.
It's not that all documents.
Yeah, that's
I mean, over on in the middle.
Do I now? Oh, here.
Right there.
Edit current view.
Yeah.
No.
You'll listen to me. I know nothing.
Not taking you guys down that road. Yeah, I'll find.
Okay.
I'll figure back out and come back around to that. Let me make a note of that. Any other questions for the carrier side?
Yeah, I have you played around with, work on the tips and tricks section. I'm wondering, are you giving access to staff members to add tips and tricks? Or I'd be afraid of the website of this whole section getting moved around and messed up or whatnot. I'm curious if you've toyed with that and how it's gone.
As of
for
right
you.
now, I just have myself and one other person in charge of the information on the site. So I think for control, best practice would be just give one person. If you don't want to do it, designate some person to be in charge of certain pieces of it. And then when you do come up, then you guys as an agency can decide, is this best tip that we need listed? And then together decide what to throw on there. Or maybe you have executive decision. You can say we can add this or whatnot. But yeah, I wouldn't give everybody access to edit the thing until you feel comfortable that they're not going to go in and screw something up. It's not really hard once you know what to click on, because it's a pretty simple editor with the new version here.
Right. Yeah, it seems like there's that comment section. I guess in theory, you could utilize comment posting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's a way that they can add to it without you changing the piece, yeah. And if you don't want them to comment, you can turn it off. But yeah, we just haven't used that piece in our office just because we just add it because we're still building it out. But once it becomes pretty in-depth, it could be. I'm just not sure like where that goes or how deep that thing will get for the comments.
How messy it'll get, better yet,
right? Well, and
like,
at some point in time, the information becomes not good anymore, and so that's my concern with putting tips and tricks in the comment section is if that part of the system changes and it's no longer a tip and a trick,
mm-hmm.
Then you have information that's not useful on here. So that's, I don't know, just a quick thought that I had. Not that it's right or wrong. We just don't use it currently.
Yeah, it seems like tips and tricks, you'd still want it to be consistent through all your channels or folders, so it's easy for the staff to track.
Right. So yeah, I think that's the biggest. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. The consistency there is going to be the biggest benefit to doing this. And the more consistent you can make the look across all of the company pages in the same structure, having the information in the same spot every time, just makes it easier on your staff to find the info.
Has anybody found a need on each page to have kind of not product details, but what products they do for beginner people in the agency? Or is that too much in there?
No, we did start listing them on ours. I listed it towards the bottom with the underwriting companies, again, okay, for beginners.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't want it to, like on this page here, you can see I've got products and then underwriting company section. And it's down towards the bottom. Okay. So I'll add stuff above it. And I did that just because the search function, it will still pull it up if they're searching for motorcycle. Not everybody has motorcycle, but the ones that do with the search.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I think, because it's really if we're all being honest, it's the new people that are going to lean on this the most.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The seasoned people, think they know what they're doing. Of course, all of us know what we're doing all the time. So yeah, that is something that we do have on ours for that exact reason.
Okay.
And then on the third call, I just plan on wrapping things up, but we can dive deeper into, like, we decided to add this information so we can kind of share some ideas on how everybody decided to lay out what they were doing, maybe get some more ideas that route.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know if anyone else is interested in some, like a procedure handbook section, perhaps. Travis, have you gotten into that? Like the workflow management?
Yep. So that's where I was going with the communication site. So if everybody's good on the carrier site, because this was the team more focused on the file section. So once you're good, hit post, save where you're at, and we'll go create another section. And all you have to do is just click right back up on your waffle and go back out to SharePoint again. My computer's lagging right now. Okay, so this time around, once you come back out here, we're going to hit create site again. And once it loads, for some reason when I do Zoom screens, it always slows things down. This time around, we're going to do a communication site. And this is where the visual aspect comes more into play. So this is going to be, so what we're going to create now is like the entry point for the internet. We did the other one first because it was easier. So on the site name, this is where I actually named it Intranet. I'm going to put a number after mine just so I don't screw up my other one. And then the topic, choose design over here. They give you a few more options, so you can kind of see what the layout's going to look like here. For the topic, you can do showcase, where it's, you know, more of a modern highlighted, but you know, you can put each piece where it zigzags back and forth. The version that I did was topic based, so you can do either or. It just depends on how you want it to lay out. Let me pull mine up so you can see mine, if you don't remember what it looks like. So this is what the topic-based format looks like. This is called a hero section. Up here, you can put your different sections. Then it has the news. So anytime one of those other pieces gets updated, and then you can have different pieces here. So this is the topic structure. So we'll go ahead and create that. Site description, this is the intranet, whatever you want to put there. And then hit finish, and it'll create this site. So once your site gets created, then you can come in here. It starts putting some stuff across the top here. This is not the hub that connects the carrier site to it. We'll add that piece down the road. But this part is just the different pieces here. In each section, like I said, in the hero piece, can go to a new page. Oh, go back. So over here on the left-hand side, click Edit. And if you wanted to change the layout, you can do that over here. I just like the way this hero section looked out with the main part. So on my site, this it's really for the newer people that come in. Takes them to a page that talks about our agency, just so they can kind of see the culture we're trying to establish. And then I broke it down into the different 4 sections, product lines that we do over here. Stop popping up. So you can come in here and we can edit this piece. If you wanted to change the color, you can do that. Set up your structure just like you did on the other. So you'll start noticing a lot of the stuff is starting to become familiar now because the format's still the same. And then once you clicked edit and you're in the edit mode, you'll notice there's, for this section here, you've got the pieces here, but you also have your stuff down across the bottom. And so when you click the stuff on the bottom, here on the big piece, here's where you can change your text over here. And then this is also where you can change where the page links to. So we can come back, right now it just goes to the Microsoft website, but we can come back and create a page in here that you link to internally, or you can send them somewhere else. You could set this to your website if you wanted to for the time being. The image is right here. You can scroll down and do a custom image, and you can search for image just like we did on the other. Alternative text is just if you hover over top of it. You know, right now we're in edit mode, so it doesn't say show, but alternative text will do that. This learn more here, you know, is the link, so you can change that right here. And then here's where that link there could drive them as well if you wanted the link. If you don't want it, just take that off. Because you can make the whole thing a link itself. And that's what I did on mine. So anywhere they click on the whole picture, it turns into a link by this link up here. And then when you get that piece done, then you can move over and decide what you want. And you can click edit on each box. And you can change each one depending on how you want to lay it out. If you do auto select, it pulls images from your own organization just randomly. I always like to control what it looks like. So we'll do a web search.
Hey, Travis.
Yep.
Like on that personal insurance one, I'm changing that too.
Mm-hmm.
I must get lost there. Where are you linking to that, to something, or is that linking back to somewhere in the intranet page, or?
We'll come back and create a page in here to link it to.
Oh, okay. Okay. So just leave it as is now.
Yeah.
Okay.
For right now, unless you wanted to send it to like a web page on your website.
But you'll have a personal page section within this, is what you're going to work out with.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Does anybody here actually do all the product lines, or anybody actually focused on just personal or just life and health?
We're PNC only, primarily commercial lines.
So you could do, would you have use of the 4 sections? I guess is kind of where I was going with that question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of, I don't mean to make this all about me, but no one else volunteered. Yeah, I mean, definitely we've got personal lines, high net worth personal lines, sort of sticky. Maybe I would divide it, personal lines, high net worth, sticky, E&S,
Yep.
and then BOP, maybe, E&S and then standard. Maybe that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because the procedures are quite different
Right.
in the various spaces.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
guys, are you guys thinking I'm crazy, or? E&S.
No, that's exactly how I would do it if I only did PNC. Because it is, I mean, you want to keep, thinking about anybody that, this is really a brain dump out of all of our heads for anybody that works with us, on how to do stuff. So high net worth clearly is a different thought process than some of the standard or even non-standard or surplus line stuff. Because you do have a different process that you have to go through. So it would make sense to section it out and give them an easier access point.
I imagine, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I imagine like an agency that has a niche, like we do a ton of construction. Maybe it's a sub page within maybe you would do that as a sub page within the E&S section. Is that what you're?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You could. This thing is so flexible. It's how do you want to set it up and organize it best. So there's no right and wrong answer. The question is, how can they find the information as quickly as possible? So if you do a ton of construction, it might make sense to make one of them focused on construction.
Right.
Because if they're working on a construction project, account or whatever, it might make sense to go in and then in your workflow piece on your sub page, then you can say, if it's standard, go this route because it's admitted process, or if it's surplus lines, go this route, because it's slightly different.
Hey, Travis, would you recommend breaking up the senior health insurance versus the regular life and health at all with as detailed as it can get, or not?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because we just don't do a lot of group health benefits anymore. It's not a real aspect of our business. I was thinking about splitting those two out there.
Yeah. So what I did on my sub page, so if you think about like a tree structure, so when I click on life, health, and Medicare,
okay,
and I'll show you how to create these links up top, but I was in the process of building like a life you can break it up into 3 columns here, like we did on the carrier page. Mm-hmm. You can have one column, like if you're doing life, go here. If you're doing health, go here. And if you're doing Medicare, go here, because they are different.
Okay.
Different workflows.
Okay.
Or if they just want a shortcut, they can click here and just go straight to Medicare new or renewal.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because you can build this out like an actual web page too, where it's got to drop down.
So it's okay to have them kind of as the cluster up front.
Right.
It's not that big of a deal then. Okay.
Right. It's really more what I found is humans are pretty visual and they don't like to read.
Got
it. And so if they get used to the photo that you have there, they're going to just recognize the photo and click on it because they know that's the route they need to go.
Yeah.
So that's been my experience. I mean, we all know your clients don't read either, so that's why I try to pick photos. Like personal insurance to me was, like the family stuff. Well, health, life, health, and Medicare is all healthy stuff. So I put like more of an active photo. Business insurance, this is your classic business insurance photo that you find online. Yeah. Then group health and benefits, I focused it more back on the employee piece, but he's still in a work environment. So that's why I picked these photos, because then it kind of created a symbolism in their head when they were looking for different categories.
Okay. You include like a whole annuity page under the life section then as well, kind of breaking it down within there? Or
you could, yeah, because that's in the same class. Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure to hit save as drafts, and then when you're done, just hit republish up here, and that will save the whole thing and publish it. I'm sharing it with colleagues right now. So then when you're in edit mode, you can change this stuff down here. So if you hover over, scroll down, you find that same add a new web part down below. So remember, this is an entry point. This is the gateway. So I have the new section just because I want them to see like, hey, this page was updated from underneath. We don't do any events in our office, but you could have a calendar technically. So if you don't like that, click on it and you can delete it. Documents, I know we're storing that stuff somewhere else, so I don't really care about the document piece here. Quick links, this is where you can, quick links is just if you wanted to hyperlink to whatever, hyperlink to your web page, hyperlink to the service forms. If you got some internal forms somewhere that everybody uses, you can use links for whatever. People's profiles, if you have everybody's profile in your organization, we don't use that. We all know each other. But sometimes if you got multiple offices, it's nice to see everybody's face rotate through there sometimes. But you can add the same sections as we did on the carrier side. So now things should be more familiar. one thing that we won't get into it now, but the Power Apps and the Power BI, when you actually get into reporting inside your agency, this is a really cool tool where you can see all kinds of metrics from anywhere. So you can dump whatever you want down here. I try to keep the initial page pretty simple just because I don't want them here very long. I want them to hear and bounce wherever they need to go to get the information. Or more often than not, we're trying to get them to use the search option because that search is becoming pretty powerful. Right across the top up here, if you go back up top, this little edit option here, it pops open your link across the top. So that's how I created this menu tree. When we add the pages, you can add them over here and kind of structure this setup here. So if you wanted to change or get rid of stuff, I always recommend leaving the home box. But for the communication site, we don't really use the documents part of it because we're doing that under the carrier section. And then the pages, we'll do the pages here in a second. The site contents is kind of like a sitemap. It dives in deeper, so if you want to get into the technical side, you can do that. I remove that because I don't really want my staff in that part. You got to keep it simple for them. Oh, close, publish.
Travis?
Yep.
Where did you go? I'm sorry, to get those the tabs across the top again. What did you click on?
So the edit button right here.
Okay, I'm there.
And then these here are the tabs. And so I just deleted the documents and the site contents because I don't really want my staff dealing with that part.
Got it. Okay.
You know, because that's where I can control. And then as we create pages, then you can come back and build that back out.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So on mine, and you can build it out however you want. So each one of these, this goes to just like the primary page, which is also the primary page here. So the primary page, what I wanted to do, this was the thought process, is if they actually clicked on it by accident, I could still give them the same links as if they dropped it down. Because I needed to have a page here because I wanted like a heading. That way it was simple for them to recognize if they were deeper into the site. So in here, I just linked to the other pages if they didn't want to. That's just me being a nerd. But each one of these subpages is where you can dive into, and we'll create this page here in a second, where you can dive into and actually build out your workflow stuff. So to create a page, you click right here on the new, back on your, just like on your hero page, and go down to page. And when you click on page, it'll give you a couple options. And it's kind of the same as the carrier site. You can create templates here also to make your life a lot easier. So depending on how you want to lay stuff out as far as workflows or processes or procedures for your staff's mental sake, you want that same flow for each one of those so they know that they're going to see the bullet point, they work down through the videos or whatever your process is. So do the same thing with the templates here. Save it as a template and you can come back and make it real quick. But they have two different options besides the blank one. So here's how the basic text version works. It's more of just based on words. But again, I don't think my staff reads. I don't think any staff reads. And then the visual option gives you a little bit more structure if you wanted to go with one of the template pieces. But knowing how easy it is to build out the different sections, personally, I built it from blank because I wanted to lay it out the way I wanted to. So if you wanted to make it look pretty, you can go that route. But I'm going to do blank right now just so you guys can build it from scratch, and then you can come back and build one of those too if you want to. So click on blank, create page. And then it's basically the same structure as the carrier page, if you remember. You can add your information, choose your photo. So we'll do a web search. We'll find something. I kind of like to have something that's, if you can, a little bit darker, just so it's not distracting. But I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. We'll just pick this family's photo, for example. Maybe I shouldn't have. And when you click on the pencil, it pulls up the title area details. You can do the overlap here. Mine was set up on the image and title option, so that way it was just a straight image over. I don't know that it really matters, but you can change the look of it there if you want, or that you can go to the color block. Alignment left, center. You can structure it here. Publish date, again, that's just going to show when it was last edited. So you can turn that on and off so you keep track of last time it was updated. Let's see. No, I don't want to. Okay, and then name your page. So I create just this is my header page, because I want this to be the one that is up in the menu bar, for example. And then it gives you the text section here. If you want to change the layout, click the edit section here, and you can do the layout. You can break it into columns, change the color of it, gray it out, whatever color you want.
Travis, I'm sorry. Where do you get to change? I'm trying to change the name of that page. I'm on the right-hand side.
Just click right here.
Oh, just click right in it.
Yeah, and you can start typing right there.
Got it. Sorry.
Yep. Nope. You're good. Because sometimes they make you click on the edit part, and sometimes you can just click on it.
Okay.
That one you can just click on. So when I added this next section here, then I changed it. And this is where I did the 3 columns. And you can do like new business, service, renewal, however you want to break up your workflows. And then, so I create the structure here, and then I go build my other pages, and then you can come back and link to them here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. And the different piece here is now when you hit publish on the communication side, it gives you these options. So you can add this page to navigation, which your navigation bar is this piece right up top. So you can hit that and it would automatically throw it up there for you. You can save it as a template straight from here if you feel good with it. But I'm going to go ahead and hit, because this, I want it to be my header page here. I want to add it to the navigation. Please try again. Republished. Okay, so it couldn't add it to the navigation, so I'm going to click up here. Sorry, let me go back. I think I just got kicked out, Lauren.
Oh. I managed to save and start again over here.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I lost like a whole page, but you know, live and learn.
Well, I mean, it's the only way to
Could be
learn is by
worse.
redoing it.
Yeah. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's great. It's great to
Thanks.
devote the time and have other people.
Well, I'm just glad
struggling on
people
the same
appreciate
thing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you spend so much time figuring this stuff out. It's nice to talk to other people who care.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Republish. It didn't save my image, but still got my structure here.
What did you have in mind when you wrote new business service and then workflows?
Well, just for the
What does workflow mean to you? Yeah.
I meant renewal.
Oh, okay. I'm like, did I miss something here?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing in gibberish right now just to have structure in here, because not everybody's going to build it the same way I am. You're going to have different information than I am. Not page details. Okay. So this was the original structure. Let me click off of here. So here's the original structure right here. And this is just the URL, just like anywhere else. So you can copy the URL up here. If it errors out like it did and you still need to add this page, you can click edit and then hover over. There it is. And it pops up this little plus sign here. And when you click on that, you could do URL or header and just paste this address in here. And then put whatever you want the link to say. So this is how you do it if it errors out. And then hit save. And now it added that to the navigation bar. So now when you click on that, it takes you to the navigation bar. And just to show you the structure of how you can stack pages, you can make a copy of this page if you don't want to do a template. I'm going to do that real quick just to show you how to add underneath here. Or you can do a blank page. So on this page, let me click on here. So we'll do a rating page, for example. And when I hit publish, hopefully it lets me do it again. Add page to navigation. And this address here is the same as the address bar up here. It just gives you the ability to copy it if you want. But now the rating popped up here. So if it works right from the beginning, it'll throw it up here. But naturally, I don't want this next to it. I want it to be underneath here. So when you click edit, see this two little dots over here on the left-hand side? You can grab it and move it. And if you hold it up underneath, go. When I moved it up, I don't know if you could tell, it turned the personal insurance blue, and see how it moved it over to the right a little bit. Now when I hit save, it will drop that link underneath the personal insurance. So now when you click on the down arrow, that extra page. So now you're creating the menu tree here.
Travis, as you're building that, is like reordering those ones under there? Is that the same method, just kind of drag and drop in the order? Okay.
Yeah. So after you have, so here's my site. So obviously I've got a boatload of pages here. Yeah. All you have to do is click on it and drag it. Down. So there you go. See how it turned blue? If I let go right now, because I clicked and dragged, if I let go, it would drop it underneath this one.
Okay.
See how it moved it over?
But if you want to just reorder it then.
But I can move it up. And so I've done this a ton. I dropped it and it like nested it underneath this one. If you drag it back up to the header, it puts it back in line, but it just puts it underneath.
But if you want to change the order of some of those down in there without making it under one?
Yeah, don't click and drag and drop. Click on the three little dots over here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And move up. That's the safest way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a zillion of them, it may take you a minute because it only moves it up one at a time.
Okay.
But I spent so much time dragging and dropping it in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
That it drove me nuts that the time that I save or spend just going one at a time actually saves time.
Got it.
So that's how you do it. But you can drag and drop. You just have to get like perfectly in the middle.
Yeah.
And that line is so tiny that my hand's not that steady. So I ended up always nesting it under a different one. Okay. But that's the other when you're in here also, it also has this make sublink, which means it will drop it over underneath whatever's above. It'll make it the sublink if you didn't want to drag and drop it. So you can do it manually also. And promote sublink means it pushes it back out, so it would be another one of the higher level ones.
Okay.
So that's basically how you do this side. Is you just create pages for each piece that you want to add to it.
So now you have essentially two separate SharePoint beginning points.
Mm-hmm.
Just wondering, how do you tie it together for the ease of use for staff, or how are they going to access these two items?
We'll in the third call, we'll come back and we'll connect it as a hub site.
Okay. So in the meantime, we should just build some stuff here and have questions for the next go around.
Yeah. Because it gets a little bit more technical, so I'm trying to graduate everybody to get to that part. So I just wanted to show this piece of it today, so you know how to create the carrier sites, know how to create the communication sites, and then we'll connect them. So between now and with Thanksgiving, I'll actually be out of town the first week of December, so it'll probably be depending on when I get back, I need to see, but it might be the week after. I want to say around the 10th when we'll do the third call. So I should give everybody some time to, 10th's a Tuesday. So we'll do it on the 10th. Get everybody some time to build a few pages, start putting some information in there, organizing it. Then we'll come back around and, if you have questions between now and then, go ahead and post them in the group, and I'll try to respond in there. But we'll come back in and do a live call to connect pieces, create the hub. And several of you may find that you want to create another communication site or another team site. You can have a ton of sites connected in the hub. Right now, I only have the carrier site and the main intranet. But as we grow, I'll probably want to have a human resource site for the human resource documents that I'll control with securities through the group permissions. But you can have additional sites. You just need to go back, click create a new site, and generate it just like we did today.
Hey, Travis, real quick, on your page you're on right now, you have the search the site at the top.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't see that on my page and it's identical to the rest of it, what am I missing something? There's a setting?
No, it should automatically default.
I don't have that in the middle there at all.
Oh, I have it on the right-hand side. Check the right-hand side right above the edit button.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I see it there now. Huh. Okay.
Oh, they rolled out a new version. You might be on a different version of SharePoint because they continually release features.
Yeah, you're right. It's on the right-hand side, a little white box there.
So the search will probably, it might be the layout your page is on, or it might, I don't know if it's the same layout, or it might be the version. But recently that I've noticed it popped up top just to be front and center.
Got it.
And the nice thing about the hub is when you connect the hub, that search bar searches all of them that are connected.
Okay.
Hey, Travis, has this video been recorded?
Yes, it should be. As soon as we stop it, it should be. It'll process, but it's in the group.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. That way you can go back and reference it. I think it takes 15 or 20 minutes for Facebook to process it.
Hey, has anybody built out? I'm just thinking, Travis, have you done this already? We find like the lender guidelines are a huge deal to keep track of. Every all the coverages that each lender that we work with needs.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found the spot to put all that, or you haven't gone there yet?
I would create a separate site for it.
Lender guidelines, and then just go each lender where you can quote it, what you can. You do a separate, like another communication site.
Yes, and for the reason, so here's my site.
Yeah.
Let me cancel this. So the challenge that I had, and this was my first site before I created the carrier resource section, and I still have it here. I don't have it built out, but what happened was I started doing agency technology, commissions, company, and I found out I was just
the referral partners, right?
I was just jamming too much information in just this one site because I was trying to put it all on pages and organize. So when they released the hub, because the hub piece of the SharePoint piece is one of the newer features where they allow you to connect and have information shared across multiple sites. As soon as they did that, that's why I didn't finish this piece, because it was becoming too complicated with my navigation on where to go and having information stored in a logical manner.
So you think this you found to be complex, this intranet referral partners, and then if you select that, I assume it's discussing a lot of the things that here we go. Right. So mortgage book. So what happens when you click in there?
Well, those are sub pages of sub pages. And so what happened is when I was trying to edit over here, it became super complex because then I was starting to get lost because it doesn't really give you, so I spent more time trying to organize everything in here. And then the other piece was, let me cancel this again. The other piece was like the commissions and the agency company relationships. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't want all of my staff to have access to. And so moving it over to a separate site that I can house it in and just not give them permission to access it.
Right.
Just immediately removes them from that information. So one, it's organized in its own silo. And two, I can control who sees it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So all of my staff will have access to the intranet and the carrier resources. And then as the thing grows, if you do like a new business, like a sales team or retention team, you don't want the sales team screwing around with the retention piece and vice versa. Or, you know, if you got somebody that's focused just on referral partners, you don't need your service staff that's handling renewals, dealing with new business referral partners. So that way you can start controlling the proper information to the proper people without overloading them with a bunch of stuff.
So they're getting, so then they're getting whatever level of knowledge, working knowledge is necessary to do their job.
Yeah, and the navigation bar across the top just gives them access to the pieces that they have access to, and the other stuff, they never see it. If you create the SharePoint site as a private site and then you give permission based on the group level, then they won't even see the human resource piece over here, or the company relationships. You know, maybe you want to store your company documents like contracting and that kind of junk, performance report, whatever. If you have an employee human resource, like where you're doing, you know, your staff reviews and you want to store all that crap on here, you know, you can make sure that they don't have access to that stuff by the group settings. So I found the hub site an easier way of doing it. Yeah, it makes you create a separate SharePoint site, but as your team grows, it will be a lot more efficient, because then you can make sure those that need access can get access and those that don't.
Right. I guess we'll see how the hub ties together later. But will those tabs show up if it's a separate SharePoint? Is it going to come across on this home carrier resources edit? Is that sort of where you're going to see the other pages, or not?
Well, we'll connect them just like you would a page up here in the hub piece.
Okay.
But if they don't have the permissions to see
then
that
it's
hub,
not going to see it.
They shouldn't see it.
Got it. Okay. That's helpful.
They shouldn't. I always have to say that because Microsoft changes everything all the time. I said something the other day and they released an update which changed the truth of what I said. But, you know, for the most part, everything gets better.
Yeah.
When they release that stuff. So, yeah. Any other questions on this stuff?
Hey, Travis, I may have missed this because I had to check out temporarily, but where you have it where it says home and carrier resources and edit, how did you get that bar?
That's the hub.
Oh, okay.
That's the hub bar, and
Okay.
we'll plug that together.
Okay.
Next call.
There you go. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Yeah. So go ahead and you know, between now and the 10th, start building out pages. Throw whatever questions in the group if you get stuck somewhere. If you get stuck, it'd be helpful if you could do like a Loom video or something like that. Just says, hey, here's what I'm doing, just so I can kind of see where things might be breaking down. I'll try to respond if I can. I'll be able to respond easier that way because it'll make more sense, I guess is the best way of saying it. I don't need you answering for me, Google. But yeah, that's, and then we'll jump back on, connect the hub site, and just kind of wrap things up in the third call, answer any final questions everybody has, and go from there. Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Good stuff. Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you on the flip side.
All right. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too.